Yeah.
You wanna press?
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Enter the Wolf Time. Well, this isn't really an episode of Enter the Wolf Time, this is more of an informative airbrush video, should I say. An airbrush 101, call it. Oh, that's right. Fucking went there. But anyway, guys, you might have noticed around that I'm not actually in the usual setting, and that's because I'm actually behind the scenes at Moggy's Miniatures. Let's just have a little pan around there behind the scenes. And I'm sorry, Moggy. I'm sorry. There's a quick one.
Guys.
There he is. Didn't want to be on camera, but it was only a quick one. But yeah, so what we're going to be looking at today, we're going to be looking at just some airbrush fundamentals, some do's and don'ts, and it's actually really fortunate that I actually have an airbrush master with me. And Moggy's chuckling right now because he doesn't think he's a master. Well, compared to me, he's a master, because all I really intend to use an airbrush for is just using it to base coat stuff. But anyway, what we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at this thing here, which is the SOTAR 2020. Unless you couldn't already read, but what the fuck, anyway. But anyway, so what we're going to do, we're going to slide that over there, and Moggy is going to go in a second and do a breakdown of what you get with it, and like the assembly of it and stuff. So I'm just going to change the camera angle. So, back in a sec. Okay, guys, so here is me, there is Moggy, there is the airbrush, and Moggy's just going to go down with a rundown of what you actually get in the box with the SOTAR 2020. So without further ado, over to you, Mr. Moggy.
Thank you very much. Alright guys, here you go. This is the SOTAR 2020. Let's open the box. This is what you get in the box. You get the airbrush, you get a spur needle, you get a different nozzle cap, an Allen key, and a spanner. So what we'll do, we'll go through the parts of the airbrush, what bits do what, and what these bits and bobs do for the different bits. So right, this is what you get. You get your SOTAR 2020, and
Carry on.
right, you get your this is your SOTAR 2020. What we're going to do, we're going to break it down into its component parts, and then you'll see how to put it together. We'll also go through how to clean it and things you generally need to know. So the first thing you need to do, this is called your needle chuck. So you undo this needle chuck, and you've got to be very careful. This is the most important part of the airbrush. With anything you do, you've got to keep this needle straight and don't ding the needle. Whatever you do, do not damage this part. The rest of it is bulletproof. This part you've got to keep clean and straight. So you take that out, put that down, keep it flat. The next thing you need to do, this is the back section. So you unscrew the back section, this comes off. Gives you access to the spring assembly at the back. After that, there's a part here which is called the trigger spoon. That's what it's called a trigger spoon.
If it isn't now, if it isn't then, it is now.
Yeah, trigger spoon. You pull this back and there's a little notch in the top of the hairbrush. You can lock it back, so this is now locked. You can take the trigger out, so you put that down on the table. After that, you can hold the spring back and take out the trigger spoon. You can put that back there. So this is the general knockdown of the thing. Then you can take this part out the back. So there's two screws. This one's for the needle tension, so that's the strength of the needle at the trigger. So you can either tighter or looser depending on how you want to do it. So to undo this comes completely out. So you take this part out. This is just the general breakdown of your airbrush for when you're cleaning. You shouldn't have to do this very often, but if you need to, this is what you do. So this just unscrews. It'll unscrew completely. So it comes out. This is where your needle, your trigger goes. It just springs. There's a spring in this part. You can undo this. I won't do it now, but you can undo this section. You can pull this completely off. So that's that. And then at this end, you've obviously got your nozzle assembly. So if your nozzle assembly, you've got the first part is your needle, your nozzle cap.
Just going to zoom in a bit on there.
Yep.
There we go.
Is your nozzle cap. So you take your nozzle cap off first, which will expose your nozzle. So there's your nozzle, which is the air. The paint comes through your nozzle, through here, through the tiny hole at the front, and the air comes out of these holes here, the second holes. So to get the nozzle out of the front, you undo this part, unscrews. All this is finger tight, so Don't worry about that.
You don't need no spanners or anything to tighten this bit up.
So this bit comes off, and then this is your nozzle. So this, do not lose this part. This is the only part you do not lose.
And you can see how small it is.
It's
there.
very small. So when you become, so now this is the furthest part you need to break this down. You can put this in an ultrasonic cleaner. You can clean out the paint, cotton buds, stuff like that. But if you have to get right in down to this piece here, you can take this spanner, which is this, and it actually undoes and unscrews, and you can take the whole front of the airbrush off.
That's the only bit that you need a spanner for, really.
Yeah, you don't need any more. So that's it. So you can clean. You can get your cotton buds down here, down there, clean it. So the next thing we'll reassemble it. So first of all, you get your nozzle. So your nozzle is just a push fit. There's no screw action. It just sits on top.
We were saying before, do it in a tray or something in case it does fall off.
Do it in a tray, or if you get a white towel or something. If you do drop this, obviously it falls on the white background, and you can find it easily. How
much did you say they were to replace if you lose one?
I think these nozzles are £35 for the Sotart, and the needles are about £45.
So if you break your needle and you lose the nozzle end bit, you might as well just buy a new airbrush because it'll be cheaper for you.
Yeah. So next thing, so you put your nozzle in, it just sits in there. Then you get your nozzle screw. Screws in. Need finger tight. Just screw it down. Done. And then you put this you get two nozzle caps with this. One's got two fingers, which is added protection, really, which I don't particularly use, but I'll show you why in a bit. But you can put this one on, so I'll show you the difference.
You're saying with those two different ends that you get with the Sotart, the one that comes on it already, didn't you say that's good if you're just doing base coating? Yeah,
it's because if you're doing base coating, your spray pattern's wider, so the paint will actually touch these two needles, these two prongs, and then they'll get coated in paint, and eventually the build-up of paint will make your paint spatter. So really, I don't usually use this. I use this one, and then your needle is completely free, so there's no way of catching any paint. It just comes straight out the end. So yeah, I use this one. So this one screws on the front like that, and that's your front of your that's your whole front end of your airbrush thing. So your back end, this, if you look, there's a square side to it which goes into a groove, so it becomes springy like that. You just put this into the back of the airbrush like this, screw it in as far as it goes. It'll only go in so far, it'll come to a stop. Just screw it in until you get to the stop. Which is like, hang on a minute.
You will know when it's stopped as well. It's not like it'll go any extra further. I thought that, how am I going to know? But it is very, very clear how it actually does it, how it goes in.
Everything is finger tight. Don't over tighten things because obviously they've become very hard to. So that actually, you've got the spring action again. So the next thing is your trigger spoon, which is this. So you pull this part back with your finger.
Yep.
So the spoon of it, you want this curved part to the back, so it slots in this little gap at the top, like that, and then you can hook it in to this. And being fiddly for a change. So it slots into that part there. I'm gonna make this not doing exactly what I want it to do. It's live on camera as normal.
It's alright. It's alright.
And it's being a nightmare. There you go. There you go. Right. Let's get this right. So you get this in there. So it sits in this groove. Why is it?
Well, see, you wouldn't normally take all that out then, would you? Unless you were doing a proper deep clean.
Yeah. There you go. Right. I've got it in now. And then your trigger goes in there. Your trigger. There's a hole in your trigger, so obviously it's where your needle goes through.
So let me just try and refocus it a little bit. It's gone all out of focus. It's focusing on Mortarion in the background. Let me just move in a second. There we go. There we go. We're in focus now.
So your trigger has got a hole through it. So the trigger obviously is for the needles to go through. So you position this. You'll know where it's in the right place, because when it's in the right place, if you put it in the wrong place, it won't push down. So you've got to find where it actually sits into the. It will push down.
It's like a spongy feel.
And then you put this spoon back to the centre.
Sorry about that, guys. Just dropped a little bit of it on the floor, so
right, guys.
Continue, Moggy.
Yeah, so alright guys, this is your trigger. The hole is from backwards and forwards for your needles to go through. So you spoons at the back into the groove. You put this trigger in the hole. It will go into a hole which lets you push down. You put your spoon forward so it locks. So you've now got the spring tension on your thing, on your trigger. Now you need the back end of your airbrush, which I have is here. You put this on here, so this screws on to the airbrush like that. So this is, and then you insert your needle. So keep this straight.
This is very important. This bit now.
You've got to make sure this needle is straight. Put this needle in straight. Guide it in softly like that. Pull your trigger to the centre, so it's not, and push down. So you've got a nice clear gap. Just push it in softly, and it will. You push it in as far as you go until the needle comes out the front.
Let's just get a little shot of the cresting out. Oh, it's why are you not focusing? Focus. There we go. You can see the needle right there.
Yeah, and then you tighten your needle chuck, and now you've got your airbrush assembly now. So now you're ready to go. So now you put your paint in the cup, attach it to your compressor, and you're ready to go. That's just a general disassembly and assembly of your airbrush. You shouldn't need to break this airbrush down to that far. Take your needle out, clean your needle, that's fine, and just clean your paint cup. Every now and again you may have to clean your needle cap here, but the rest of that it should be fine. Take your nozzle out every now and again, just give that a deep clean, you should be fine.
Excellent. Well, that's really informative. I know from what you've told me before, because this is the second time Moggy's, well, third time technically Moggy's done this. Because I came around once, he showed me, then I forgot it all, then I came around here, and now this is the third time he's doing it on the video. And there was another little trick that I want there. If you do end up bending your needle slightly, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'll show you that trick. What you need, if you actually do make a mistake, or you catch the needle on the side of the table and you've got a slight hook on the end, you will find this. If you run the needle on the back of your nail, you'll feel it scratch. If you've got that effect, it means when the air goes over the needle, it'll actually shoot it in the direction of the bend, which is obviously the wrong thing.
Like if you've had a night of sex and you try and have a piss, kind of like that.
Yeah, you get it all over the board, which is not good. So what you need is a piece of corrugated cardboard. Yep, you make a V in the cardboard. Your needle has obviously an angle to it. Put the cardboard so it's like that. Get the angle of your needle, so you've got your hand like this. Put a little bit of pressure on and pull it back as the pressures are being applied, and twist. And as you're doing this motion, you'll have to do it several times. It will pull the needle end straight again. It's also doing a second thing, because the cardboard is coarse. It's also polishing the needle tip. So the paint will flow over the needle end a lot smoother, and you'll get a smoother paint flow. So even every week or so, pull this cardboard out and just polish the end of your needle. It's a great trick, it works great, and it does work, so try that out, it's a really cool idea.
So a bit of needle care advice there from
you can also get needle lube. It's either Badger do one which is Ragdab, or Iwata do one which is just Super Lube. You can put that. It's called dry tip. It stops the paint drying on the tip. You put it in the cup and on the needle. Put it back in, and it will stop dry tip happening. You can also use it on all your mechanical parts for a smoother glide. But I don't use it very often. But you can get Super Lube or Ragdab.
Excellent. Well, cheers. I think what we're going to look at next, if that's all right, Moggy, look at a compressor for a little bit, because that's one of the things that I was a bit unsure about with compressors. So what we'll do, we'll line up the shot again to look at a compressor. So back in a sec, guys. So after a quick jump cut later, everybody, we have a compressor. Now, just so people know, because again, pricing and stuff, the one thing I wanted to talk about, this Sotar was about $50 off of Amazon. I'll include the link in the doobly-doo down below for as long as it's still on Amazon for. But it's about $50. I paid a bit more for mine to get express delivery. But compressors, how much do compressors normally cost? Because this is something that I wouldn't have a clue on.
Compressors are different price. You can get one without a tank for about 65 quid. If you want the one with the tag, this is a Badger compressor, which is, I think it's called the AB186, I think it is, with a tank. It's about £90. And then you can go up to an Awata compressor or a Bambit, and they just go. My compressor is £350, but this
is that thing down there?
Yeah, that's the beast.
Yeah, we'll do a quick pan. That's a babby compared to this beast down there. Look at the size of that thing. I thought it was a propane tank when I first came in here. It's ridiculous, massive.
That's a baby compressor.
It's as quiet as a kitten. As quiet as a kitten. Right, anyway, back to the compressor over here.
Yeah, back to the compressor. This is about 90 quid. It's a badge one. It's a really good compressor for starting out or just general airbrushing. It's really cool. What you will need when you get this, you will need a hose. The Badger compressor comes with a quarter attachment to the other end is an eighth. Some compressors come with eighth to eighth, so when you get your compressor you'll have to find out which attachment you need for this. And this one's a quarter. So all you do is screw this onto the end of the compressor, like so. And then the other end is 1/8. So what you'll need, if you get the Sortar 2020, you're going to need, if you can get a Badger hose, which are a little bit more expensive, but if you just get a generic airbrush hose, it'll come with a 1/8 end. You're going to need an adapter. You get these off eBay. They're an adapter. You want a Badger fitting to 1/8. All you do then is screw the Badger, the adapter onto the Sortar, and then screw this onto the end of there. And now it's attached, and then all it is, switch it on and the air will come out of this. Now what you need to do is when you're airbrushing, this is the gauge, so you've got to set your PSI. So to set your PSI is this you've got to pull this up and then twist it. So twist it that way, the pressure will go up. So your ideal pressure for base coats or general airbrush is between 20 and 25 usually. For detail work, I'd probably drop that pressure down to about 15, 18, 15, something like that. You should be fine. Just turn it up and down. If you've got too much pressure, drop this down. You have to press, obviously, the trigger to drop the pressure, and then it will tell you how much pressure you're using. But to turn it up, it will go up as far as you turn it. So we'll set this to 25 psi, which is there, and now you've got air coming through your airbrush. So because this is it's got a tank, what will happen is when this is working, it will heat up, which causes condensation to happen, which will go into your tank here and here. This is a water trap. To get the water out of the water trap, there is a button here you have to push up. It will let air out, but it will also let water out of the water trap. So we'll switch this off for a minute. And every, I'd say, a week or 2 weeks, there is, if you've got one with a tank, you'll see, I won't do it now because there's pressure in the tank.
What happens if you were to do it? Will it just go?
Yeah, it will just completely blow out. Because it's under a lot of pressure, this tank. So you actually unscrew this, and if there's water in the tank, it just drains out. It will be rusty water because these tanks aren't coated on the inside. It'll come out really bright orange, but don't worry about that. It's meant to do that. But yeah, tighten that back up, and then you just turn it on, and that's just, these are oilless compressors, so they look after themselves. Just keep them clean and stuff like that. That's fine. Whereas the big presser of mine is an oil compressor where I have to put oil in it, so that's the difference. But this is fine. One
thing that I wanted to ask before that I didn't, if you've already got pressure in that, how do you release the pressure? Do you just...
You see this is the red thing on the side of the tank. There's a ring on it.
Right,
and
okay.
it will release the air in the tank. Yeah, or you can do it, you can press this and the air will come out of there as well.
Just comes out a bit more slowly.
Yeah, so you can have this is the emergency thing, you can just pull it, yeah, or you can just, yeah, that's just where you release it. So that's the pressure of your tank, so that's your compressor.
Awesome. Right, well, I will do another jump cut and we'll look at some stuff to thin it down. Moggy's going to talk a little bit, if he wants to, about if he still wants to after doing this. After I promise this is the last bit, Moggy.
No, it's fine.
Just about thinners and how you should put your paints in, and that back flushing thing as well.
Yeah,
to clear that'll be really useful as well. So we'll do another jump cut, and we'll be back in a second. We're back again after another jump cut. So what Moggy's going to go through now is just some cleaning and just showing a little bit of what the airbrushes can do and stuff. Going to go over back flushing and how to rinse it out and stuff like that. So not the tripod then, nearly jammed it into my face. So over to Mr. Moggy.
Right, here we go, guys. this is obviously this is my airbrush. You should take care of it. Airbrush. I abuse mine, but look after yours. But a good tip about these airbrushes, because you've got access to your needle at the back, because it sticks out at the back, the best way to look after your needle in this airbrush is when you've finished airbrushing, undo your needle chuck and pull it back, so the main point of this needle is actually inside the body.
Just get a zoom in on that.
So it's inside the body. So even if you did drop this by mistake, while you're not using it, the needle's protected. So what you do when you want to use it, obviously push this forward and the needle protrudes from the end, so it's ready for going. I use a quick release mechanism. So as I showed you before, you have an adapter to use the other hose, but my hose I have as a quick release on it, which is this part here. So what you do, you need the tail and the quick release. So you screw this quick release on the end of here, and all you do then is push this in there, and you get so you can, because I'm using them all the time, I can actually swap airbrushes really fast. So there's one, there's two, and then I can swap to three really fast. So you can actually swap from one colour to colour to colour really fast. So you can put 3 different colours in while you're doing it, so you can swap. So anyway, that's your quick release. So if you've got more than one airbrush, or you're getting one more airbrush, I'd recommend getting a quick release. So right, airbrushing. So we'll put this airbrush in here. What you want to do, obviously the paint goes in here, but the best way I can tell you how to get the consistency for your paint, if you can imagine semi-skimmed milk. So it's
just a bit thicker than water.
Bit thicker than water, yeah. So this is like airbrush ready paint, but because it's a Sauter's got a really fine needle, you put this in here. You only need a few drops, so we'll put a few drops in here like that. So we've got a few drops, and then you just get a little bit of thinners, top it up. I put probably 2 or 3 drops in there. You get an old brush. I mix my paint in the cup, but you can mix it in or out of the cup, doesn't make any difference. So give it a swirl around so you've got the thinner and the paint mixed. So there you go. If you've got a piece of card, or I use the back of my hand usually, but we use a piece of card for this go, just test the paint so you've got your airflow. So there you go. Yeah, so the paint's coming out. The further back you have your airbrush, the wider the spray pattern. So if I hold it back here, you see I've got a wider spray pattern. If I put it in close, I can actually get a really thin line. If I want to do a bit of general airbrushing, I hold it back a bit further, and it's like that. Clean your bit, and then if you want to do a bit of, you just, there you go. Just keep doing that. So give me a sec, just got to clean my nib. Right.
Always clean your nib.
Clean my nib, yeah. You get dry tip. So the best way to get dry tip, means the paint's actually drying on the nib. So what, you get a piece of cloth or even your hand, pinch the end, push hard, pinch and pull, and you'll pull all the dry paint from the end of your tip. So then you've got a clean nozzle. Yeah. So when you're airbrushing, you obviously get something to airbrush. This is just primer. So you can, like I say, you can go really close and get a thin line, or you can do pre-shading, which is, pre-shading is you follow every line or recess, so you can actually go in and do the line there like that. That's pre-shading. So when you get every line, so you go through every line like this, so it's got a line. Then your next colour over that, you'll actually have a shade pattern underneath the next colour. But if you're just priming, obviously it's just until you've got a solid colour everywhere, just random like that. So you've got a solid colour. There you go, like that, and that's just priming. So that's one colour. I'll show you the colour changes. Colour changes are really is you've got a bit of paint in your paint cup now. You want to change colour. So what you do, the access paint you've got in your cup, I make a thing. I get a bottle, cut the top off, turn it inside out. So and you just tip the paint in here. Now it's a tattoo water bottle like this. You put water in there like that, so you've got water in your cup. Get your 2 fingers, this is called back flushing. You get your 2 fingers like this, hold it at the front, don't pinch it tight, just pinch it and press down and pull back, and you'll get bubbles in your cup. It's called back flushing. So you're back flushing all the paint out of your cup into the water and you just tip it out. Right, you do this 2 or 3 times, so you see that, isn't it? You've nearly got it all clean. So you put a bit more water in. Back flush again, it'll bubble. Tip it out one more time. Like this. Tip it out. Like
just
that.
until the water starts becoming clean.
And with the less of the water that's in it, just roll it straight through. So now, if you look in the cup, it's completely clean.
Hang on, close on the cup. There we go, nothing in there. Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle. That's it. That's as easy as it is to clean. You shouldn't need to. If you really need to, you get yourself some airbrush cleaner. On the very last, I always use water, but you can use it on the very last let go of cleaning. Put a little bit of airbrush cleaner in, back flush it, spray it through there. You'll clean your airbrush. So let's change colour. We'll use model colour red. So we get a bit. So what we'll do with this, we'll make it a bit simpler for you to thin it. So we'll put 3 drops of model colour red in here. So 1, 2, 3. So it's in there. Yeah. Then we want 2 drops of AK Interactive thinner. So 1, 2. So like that, get yourself a brush. Mix it round. So your paint should be really thin. If you look, it's a bit transparent, so it should be, if you look in there, it's really thin. So that's it. And then obviously test it on the back of your hand, so it's coming out nice and bonny. Get yourself your part you're looking, and then you just, I'd hold it back because you want a nice thin coat for your airbrush, so you want your first coat to dust on, so you get a nice transparent colour. So if you look, see I'm putting red on here, you see the pre-shading there, I did, you can see through it, so it's not a solid colour, so you just keep going over like this. So you've got a solid colour, as you see there, the pre-shade is shone through and you've got a shadow colour.
That's fantastic, from such little work as well.
See, and that's it's as simple as that. You can also get, there's more, this is just basic airbrushing, so that's just your basic fat colour. If you want a shadow colour, this is basic, and then you can get a brighter red and do a highlight colour, so where the sun would hit, you'd hit the top of that, the top of this, the bridge here where the sun would hit, then that's highlighting. Well, that'll be another tutorial for another day, but this is any colour, because the paint is so thin and you're airbrushing it, well actually, because this is red, so I'll put red over black. So this is over a black base coat. You know yourself, if you try putting red over black with a brush,
there's no chance.
You'd drive yourself potty. But there you go, that's just a simple red coat over black.
That's fantastic. I mean, it just makes painting vehicles infinitely easier.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always struggled with, is painting vehicles. I used to loathe it, because again, using my shitty brushes. Moggy's seen the state of my brushes.
Oh yeah, they're pretty bad.
And the airbrush is just going to make doing vehicles A, more fun for me, and B, able to get them done faster.
Yep. So simple again, we'll clean this airbrush and then we'll call it a day. So there again, water in the cup, back flush, so it foams up. In your dirty pot, you can get cleaning stations where you actually put the nozzle of the airbrush in and you have to spray it all out, but I find to clean it faster you're better off pouring the excess paint out, so that's why I don't use one. But people do, so there's no problem with that. Clean it out, one more back flush, out, spray the excess out, one last time. Out, blow it through, and we're clean again.
Fandabby-dozy.
There you go.
Well, that was a pretty comprehensive view of airbrushing, and I know myself, I thought that airbrushing was way more complicated than what has been shown here. I was like, oh no, I was a bit scared of airbrushing, to be fair, because of all the gubbins you've got to buy and all the care you've got to take in the airbrush, but they are quite robust. They are, you know, the needles are a bit on the fragile side.
As you can see, this is an airbrush. The only thing you've got to protect is your needle. You can actually hit these things on a desk and they will, honestly, as long as you keep this bit clean, so they've got a green paint in it, but clean and nice, you'll be fine. As long as you don't damage the nozzle and the needle, you'll be fine. The rest of it's really robust.
Fantastic. Yeah, well, hopefully that's dispelled some of the myths about airbrushing, and if anyone's ever thinking of airbrushing something or starting airbrushing, this video will be able to tell you some of the do's and don'ts and how-tos. But anyway, I've got to say a massive thank you to Mr. Moggy.
You're welcome, anytime.
Because, yeah, without Moggy this video wouldn't have been possible. And I would have probably gone ahead and bought a load of cheap crap online, and it would have probably been a whole bloody mess, would have wasted a whole lot of money. What's mothy? Money. Monies. That's what I would have wasted. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again on a next video from Enter the Wolf Time.
Fist pump.
See you guys, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.